I loved Ethan before anyone cared who he was. I loved him when his dreams were bigger than his bank account and his shoes had holes in them. One day, he used to whisper, "I'll give you everything." I always smiled and said, "I don't need everything. I just need you." We used to sit on the floor of my tiny apartment, eating instant noodles. "Sorry it's not fancy," I would say. He would laugh. "This is perfect. You're perfect." I believed him. I worked extra shifts. I paid rent when he couldn't. When he failed an interview, he would bury his face in my shoulder and say, "What if I never make it?" "You will," I told him every time. "I believe in you." Some nights I stayed awake, counting coins, telling myself love was enough. I told myself dreams needed patience. "I'm okay," I whispered to the dark, even when my hands shook. Sophia noticed things before I did. One night she crossed her arms and said, "Ivy, you're giving too much." "I'm fine," I replied. "Love means sacrifice." She shook her head. "Love also means balance. You shouldn't disappear for someone." "I won't," I said softly. "He needs me right now." Ethan got his first real job a month later. He came home breathless. "They noticed me," he said. They actually noticed me. I hugged him. "I'm proud of you. I always knew they would." He kissed my forehead. "I couldn't have done this without you." From that day, his phone never stopped buzzing. "It's work," he said quickly whenever I looked. "Important people." I nodded, even when my chest felt tight. "Of course. I understand." Weeks passed. His clothes changed. His schedule changed. Sometimes his tone changed too. One night I asked, "Are you happy?" He paused. "I'm getting there." "That's not an answer," I said quietly. He sighed. "You worry too much." Sophia pulled me aside later. "You look scared." "I'm just tired," I lied. "Things are changing." "They're changing fast," she warned. Then the envelope arrived. Ethan stared at it like it could change his life. "It's an invitation," he said slowly. "A private business gala. Only selected guests." My stomach dropped. "That sounds important." "It is," he said. "Everyone who matters will be there." I forced a smile. "Then you should go." He hesitated. "It's very exclusive." "I can wait at home," I said before he could ask. He looked relieved. "You understand." After he slept, I called Sophia. "Why does my chest hurt?" I asked. She answered softly, "Because you feel it before it happens." I sat alone on the edge of the bed, listening to his steady breathing, wondering when love started feeling like waiting. I wondered when supporting him turned into shrinking myself, and why I felt guilty for noticing it at all. Love felt fragile, like glass, and I was afraid to breathe. I watched him hold that invitation like a golden key. My hands felt empty. My heart started racing, and I didn't know why. I pressed my palm to my chest and whispered, "Don't be afraid." But fear stayed. I knew this night mattered. I knew it was the first step toward something I couldn't follow, even though he was still standing right in front of me. If you're ready, paste Chapter 2's outline, and I'll continue. Exact word count, same style, no filler. I walked into the ballroom holding Ethan's hand, but it felt like I was already alone. "Smile," he whispered. "Just stay close." "I am close," I said quietly. Crystal lights hung above us. Men in suits laughed too loudly. Women looked at me like I was unfinished. "Do they always stare like this?" I asked. "They're just curious," Ethan replied, his eyes scanning the room instead of my face. A man shook Ethan's hand. "You're the new rising star," he said. "Impressive work." "Thank you," Ethan answered quickly. He didn't introduce me. I swallowed and stepped closer. "I'm Ivy," I said to the man. He nodded politely, already bored. "Nice to meet you." Then he turned back to Ethan. I felt invisible. A woman in a silver dress approached us. "Ethan Cole," she said smoothly. "I've heard so much about you." Her smile was sharp and perfect. "And you are?" I asked. She glanced at me, then back at him. "Vanessa Moore." "Oh," I said. "Nice to meet you." She laughed softly. "Likewise." Her eyes stayed on Ethan. You must be busy these days. I am, Ethan said. Very. She leaned closer. Ambition looks good on you. I waited for him to step back. He didn't. My fingers tightened around his sleeve. He gently pulled away. Excuse me, he said. I need to talk business. Okay, I replied, forcing calm. Vanessa smiled at me. You don't attend many events like this, do you? No, I answered. I don't. It shows, she said kindly, which hurt more. I drifted toward the wall, listening to whispers. She's with him? Strange choice. Temporary. Ethan laughed across the room. I didn't recognize the sound. Sophia's words echoed in my head. You're giving too much. When Ethan finally returned, I asked, Did I do something wrong? He frowned. Why would you ask that? You barely spoke to me. This is important, he said. You knew that. I know, I replied. I just didn't expect to feel like a stranger. He sighed. You're being sensitive. On the drive home, silence filled the car. I stared out the window. Did you enjoy tonight? I asked. Yes, he said without hesitation. I didn't, I admitted. He gripped the wheel. You don't understand this world. The words landed slowly. Try explaining it to me, I said. He shook his head. It's not something you can explain. I felt something break. So, I'm the problem? No, he said. You're just different. I pressed my hands together. Different how? He didn't answer. When we reached home, he checked his phone. I have meetings tomorrow, he said. Of course, I replied. I went to the bathroom and stared at my reflection. You're fine, I whispered. You belong somewhere. But my voice sounded unsure. I remembered noodles on the floor and promises spoken softly. I wondered when success started asking him to forget me. I turned off the light and followed him to bed, afraid that asking for reassurance would push him away, afraid that silence was hurting us. I lay awake beside him, listening to his breathing change, wondering when love became quiet competition. I wanted to ask if he still chose me. I stayed silent, learning that silence could be a warning, not peace, and that tonight had shifted something fragile inside my chest that I was not ready to name. You promised, I said, standing in front of him. You said tonight was ours. Ethan didn't look up from his phone. Something came up. Something always comes up, I replied. You said dinner. You said no work. He sighed. This isn't just work. These people matter. So do I said, surprised by my own voice. He finally looked at me. Don't start this. I'm not starting anything, I said. I'm asking why I don't count anymore. You're being dramatic, he answered. This is one night. It's not one night, I said. It's every night lately. Silence stretched between us. He picked up his jacket. I can't miss this. Then don't, I said. Just don't lie about it. His jaw tightened. You don't understand what I'm building. I understood when you had nothing, I said softly. That made him pause. That's not fair. Neither is this, I replied. At the event, I stood beside him again, feeling out of place. A man approached us. Ethan, he said. Good timing. This is my father, Ethan added quickly. Mr. Howard Cole. I smiled. I'm Ivy. Mr. Cole looked at me once. Temporary, he asked Ethan, not me. My face burned. Excuse me? Ethan hesitated. She's my partner. Mr. Cole nodded without warmth. These circles aren't for everyone. I didn't ask to be here, I said. He smiled thinly. That's obvious. Ethan didn't defend me. He just stood there. Later, I whispered, Why didn't you say anything? He said, You embarrassed me. I laughed once. I embarrassed you? You challenged him, he said. That was unnecessary. So was his question. I replied. He looked away. You should go home. The words felt final. You're choosing them, I said. I'm choosing my future, he answered. I left alone. At home, I sat on the bed, replaying everything. His silence. His father's voice. My own shaking hands. You're enough, I told myself. You've always been. but doubt crept in. Then why doesn't he see it? I remembered every sacrifice, every quiet night, every belief I gave him. Maybe I was just convenient, I whispered. When he came home late, I asked, "Do you still want this?" He didn't answer. That hurt more than any argument. I turned away, staring at the wall. My chest felt heavy. "Say something," I begged quietly. He stayed silent. I realized then that love shouldn't make you feel invisible. I realized I was shrinking to fit a world that didn't want me. I pressed my face into the pillow, trying not to cry, trying not to admit that something precious was breaking. I told myself this was just a phase, that he would come back to me, that love would win. But deep down, I felt the truth settling in. This was the first time he chose them over me, and it wouldn't be the last. Ethan sat across from me, scrolling his phone. "Are you listening?" I asked. "Yes," he said without looking up. I waited. "Then what did I just say?" He sighed. "Ivy, I had a long day." "So did I replied. "I just wanted to talk." "Can it wait?" he asked. Vanessa sensed something important. My chest tightened. She sends a lot of important things. He frowned. "Don't make it weird." "It already is," I said quietly. Days passed like that. Short answers. Longer silences. His world grew louder while I faded. One night Sophia showed up unannounced. "You look tired," she said. "I'm fine," I answered automatically. She crossed her arms. "Stop lying to me." I looked down. "I don't know how to fix this." "Are you sure it's yours to fix?" she asked. Before I could answer, my phone buzzed. "Ethan, running late." Sophia shook her head. "You're disappearing." "I love him," I whispered. "And what about you?" she asked. Later that week, Liam called. "Hey," he said gently. "Sophia told me you might need company." "I'm okay," I said. "I didn't ask if you were okay," he replied. "I asked if you wanted company." We sat in silence at a cafe. "You look smaller," he said. "I feel smaller," I admitted. "You shouldn't," he said. "You've always been strong." I smiled sadly. "He doesn't see that anymore." Liam asked. I nodded. "He's ashamed of where I come from." "That's his loss," Liam said. I wanted to believe him. That night, I went to the venue Ethan was attending. I didn't plan to confront him. I just wanted to see him. I stood near the entrance when I heard his voice. "She doesn't really fit," Ethan said. A man laughed. "Background matters." "I know," Ethan replied. "She wouldn't understand this world." I froze. Another voice asked, "Why keep her then?" There was a pause. "Because I owe her," Ethan said quietly. My hands shook. "Owe me?" I stepped back, my heart pounding. "So that's it," I whispered. "I'm a debt." I walked home alone. "You're afraid to lose him," I told myself. "But you're already losing yourself." When Ethan came home, I asked, "Do you talk about me?" He hesitated. "Why?" "Because I heard you," I said. He looked away. "You weren't supposed to." "So it's true," I said. "You're ashamed of me." "That's not what I said," he replied. "It's what you meant," I answered. Silence filled the room. I felt tears burn, but I didn't cry. "I love you," I said. "But I don't recognize myself anymore." He didn't respond. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling. "If I stay," I whispered, "I'll disappear." The thought scared me more than losing him ever could. "I need you to look at me," I said. Ethan stopped walking but didn't turn around. "I'm late." "I don't care," I replied. "Not tonight." He faced me slowly. "What is this about?" "You," I said. "Us. Or whatever we are now." He rubbed his forehead. "I don't have time for this." "You promised me honesty," I said. "I'm asking for it." Silence stretched. Finally, he said, "What do you want me to say?" "Say I still matter," I whispered. He exhaled. "Ivy, love isn't enough anymore." The words felt unreal. "Since when?" I asked. "Since reality caught up," he replied. "Since I saw what I could become." "And where do I fit?" I asked. He didn't answer right away. You don't, he said finally. My chest tightened. So, all those years meant nothing? They meant something, he said. Just not everything. I laughed softly. You chose status over me. I chose my future, he corrected. And I was never part of it, I said. He looked away. I didn't say that. You didn't have to, I replied. A knock sounded at the door. Ethan glanced toward it. She's waiting, he said quietly. Vanessa? I asked. Yes. I nodded. Of course she is. I didn't plan this, he said. But you chose it, I replied. He picked up his coat. I hope one day you'll understand. I stepped back. No, I said. I hope one day you'll regret it. He paused. I'm sorry. I know, I said. That's what makes it worse. He opened the door. I saw her silhouette outside, polished and patient. Ethan didn't look back. The door closed softly. I stood there, unmoving. I waited for the pain to hit all at once. It didn't. It came slowly, like something sinking. I walked outside after a while. The night air felt cold. I didn't cry. I held it in. I walked past them without a word. Vanessa glanced at me, then looked away. I kept walking. When I reached home, my hands started shaking. I sat on the floor and finally let myself breathe. It's over, I said out loud. The tears came then. Quiet. Heavy. I covered my mouth so no one could hear me. I cried for the girl who believed love was enough. I cried for the years I gave freely. Something inside me cracked. Not loudly. Cleanly. I loved you, I whispered to the empty room. But I won't beg. I wiped my face and stood up. My reflection looked tired but clear. This is the end, I said. And the beginning. The pain was still there, but underneath it was something new. A small, steady strength. I didn't know what it was yet, but I felt it waking. I lay down alone. My heart hurt, but it was beating for me again. I closed my eyes and let the night pass. Something had died. Something else had just begun that I stopped answering calls. I'm fine, I texted Sophia. Just tired. I wasn't fine. I lay on my bed staring at the ceiling, replaying his words. Love isn't enough. I whispered them aloud, testing how much they hurt. They still did. Get up, I told myself. Just get up. My body didn't listen. Mia knocked on my door one morning. You didn't eat, she said. I'm not hungry, I replied. She sat beside me. You're lying. I turned away. Go to school. She didn't move. You taught me not to quit when things hurt. That broke me. I sat up and pulled her into my arms. I don't know who I am anymore, I admitted. You're my sister, she said. And you're strong. You just forgot. After she left, my phone rang again. An unknown number. I almost ignored it. Hello, I said. This is Daniel, right? A calm voice answered. Sophia gave me your number. I frowned. Why? She said you were smart, he said. And scared. I'm not interested, I replied quickly. I didn't make an offer yet, he said gently. Just coffee. I'm not ready, I said. That's usually when people need it most, he replied. I hung up, heart racing. You don't need anyone, I told myself. You already failed once. That night, Sophia showed up again. You should meet him, she said. I don't believe in chances anymore, I replied. She looked at me. Then believe in yourself. I didn't answer. 2 days later, I sat across from Daniel anyway. I don't belong in your world, I said. He smiled slightly. You don't know my world. I'm not polished, I said. I don't come from money. Neither do I, he replied. I come from effort. I laughed weakly. I'm broken. Good, he said. Broken people rebuild carefully. What do you want from me? I asked. To see if you want more, he said. Not love. Not approval. More of yourself. I looked down at my hands. I'm afraid. He nodded. So was I. Silence settled between us. I heard my own thoughts. If you stay here, you'll disappear. I can't promise anything, I said. I'm not asking for promises, Daniel replied. Just courage. When I got home, I stared at my reflection again. He chose status. I whispered. I chose silence. I shook my head. No, not anymore. I called Daniel back. I'll try, I said. He smiled through the phone. That's enough. That night, I cried again, but differently. I'm done waiting, I told myself. I'm done hoping someone chooses me. I opened my laptop. I wrote plans instead of memories. I felt fear, but also relief. I broke quietly in those weeks. No one clapped. No one noticed. But every morning I stood up anyway. Every night I reminded myself, you survived. Love didn't save me. I did. And for the first time since he left, I felt something solid under the pain. A decision. A direction. I wasn't rebuilding for him. I was rebuilding for me. Again, Daniel said. Start from the beginning. I already did, I replied, rubbing my eyes. Then do it better, he said calmly. I wanted to scream. Instead, I took a breath. Okay. Nights blurred together. You're late, Sophia said one evening. I know, I answered. I had work. You're always working, she replied. I need to, I said. I wasted enough time. Daniel watched me struggle without rescuing me. Why are you doing this? He asked one night. Because stopping hurts more, I replied. I failed often. This isn't good enough, he said. I know, I answered. Then fix it. I learned discipline the hard way. No applause. No shortcuts. Just effort. You're changing, Sophia said. I'm learning, I corrected. One afternoon, I ran into Ethan outside a cafe. Ivy, he said, surprised. You look busy. I am, I replied. He glanced at my laptop. Still trying? Yes, I said. He smiled faintly. Good luck. That's all. I asked myself after he left. I felt nothing. No anger. No need to explain. You don't get access anymore, I whispered. Later, Daniel asked, Did that bother you? No, I said honestly. He nodded. That's progress. I stopped checking my phone. Stopped waiting. You don't owe anyone updates, I reminded myself. One night, exhaustion hit hard. I can't do this, I told Daniel. You can, he replied. You're just tired. I'm scared, I admitted. Good, he said. Fear means you care. I pushed through. Failed again. Tried again. You're stronger than you think, Daniel said. I don't feel strong, I replied. Strength doesn't ask permission, he said. Weeks passed. My confidence grew slowly, quietly. I spoke less, listened more. You don't explain yourself anymore, Sophia noted. I'm done explaining, I said. They never listened. I watched others rush for attention. I stayed focused. You don't need to prove anything, I told myself. One evening, Ethan's name appeared on my phone. I stared at it. Don't, Sophia warned. I won't, I said, turning the screen off. That felt like victory. Daniel smiled when I finished my first real success. You did this, he said. I showed up, I replied. That's how it starts, he said. I walked home under quiet lights, tired but steady. You survived, I whispered. I thought about who I used to be. The girl who waited. The girl who believed love fixed everything. She didn't fail, I said softly. She just outgrew that life. Success didn't ask where I came from. It didn't ask who left me behind. It only asked one thing. Will you keep going? Yes, I answered. Not loudly, not proudly, but honestly. I kept going. I heard Ethan got engaged, Sophia said carefully. I paused. To Vanessa? Yes, she replied. It's everywhere. I nodded. Good for them. She watched me. Are you okay? I didn't ask, I said. But yes. I wasn't celebrating. I wasn't hurting either. I felt distant, like it belonged to another life. People say it's strategic, Sophia added. Of course it is, I replied. A week later, Daniel handed me a card. Oliver Grant wants to meet you. I frowned. Why? He noticed your work, Daniel said. That doesn't happen by accident. At the meeting, Oliver smiled. You're quiet, he said. I listen, I replied. I like that, he said. I want to feature your project. I hesitated. I'm not ready for attention. He leaned back. No one ever is. Afterward, I sat alone thinking. This feels fast, I told Daniel. You earned it slowly, he replied. Rumors reached me anyway. Ethan lost a deal. Vanessa's family pulled support. Things aren't perfect. Sophia asked, does that make you feel better? No, I said honestly. It makes me feel done. One evening, Ethan called. I stared at the screen. Don't answer, I told myself. I didn't. Later, Daniel asked, do you feel responsible? For what? I asked.
For his fall, he said.
I shook my head. He made his choices. That's restraint, Daniel replied. Not cruelty. At another event, I saw Vanessa from across the room. She looked tense. I looked calm. That difference mattered. Oliver introduced me on stage. She built this quietly, he said. Pay attention. Applause filled the room. My hand shook, but my voice didn't. Thank you, I said. I'm still learning. Afterward, Sophia hugged me. You won, she whispered. I didn't compete, I replied. That night, I heard Ethan's engagement party was canceled. I sat with the news, feeling nothing sharp. I don't need his pain, I said aloud. I just need my peace. Another call came from him. I ignored it again. You don't get rescued by the person you abandoned, I thought. Daniel asked, any regrets? I shook my head. Only that I stayed too long. I walked home under soft lights, thinking about karma. It didn't scream. It didn't rush. It waited. I'm not your punishment, I whispered into the quiet. I'm your lesson. Ethan's life unraveled without my hands touching it. Mine moved forward because I finally chose myself. I didn't cheer. I didn't interfere. I kept walking, just like karma does. Quiet.
Certain.
Unstoppable. I didn't expect to see him there. Ivy. Ethan said, stopping in front of me. Is that really you? Yes, I replied. It's me. He looked me up and down, like he was searching for something familiar. You look different. I am, I said. We stood in awkward silence. Finally, he said, I heard about your project. I'm sure you did, I answered. He swallowed. You're doing well. So are you. I lied politely. He gave a humorless smile. Not really. I didn't respond. I didn't think you'd come to events like this, he added. I didn't think you'd notice, I said. That stung him. I notice you now. I was always here, I replied. He looked away. I owe you an apology. I crossed my arms. For what? For choosing wrong, he said. For hurting you. I studied his face. He looked tired. Why now? I asked. Because I see what I lost, he said. And who you became. I didn't become this for you, I said calmly. I know, he replied. That's what hurts. Silence settled again. I felt steady. Not angry. Not hopeful. Just clear. I thought success would fix everything, he admitted. I thought love could wait. And now? I asked. Now I know I was wrong, he said. I nodded. You were. He stepped closer. Do you ever miss us? I answered honestly. I miss who I was before I felt small. He flinched. I never wanted that. But you allowed it, I said. He sighed. I'm sorry. I believe you, I replied. His eyes widened. You do? Yes, I said. But belief isn't the same as return. He looked at me like I was slipping away. Is there no chance? I shook my head. I already survived without one. That silence felt heavier. You're strong, he said quietly. I had to be, I replied. I was proud of you once, he said. I smiled faintly. I'm proud of me now. He nodded slowly. You don't need me anymore. No, I said. I don't. That seemed to break something in him. I thought your success was revenge, he admitted. It wasn't, I said. It was survival. He laughed softly. You always were honest. And you always heard too late, I replied. We stood there as people passed around us. I'm glad you're happy, he said. I am, I answered. He hesitated. I hope one day you forgive me completely. I already did, I said. For myself. He looked at me then like I was a ghost. Someone familiar, but unreachable. Goodbye, Ivy, he said. Goodbye, Ethan, I replied. I walked away, without looking back. My chest felt light. I realized something important with every step. I never needed his regret to heal. I never needed his apology to grow. I needed myself. And I had her now. My phone buzzed. Ethan's name flashed across the screen.
I stared at it for a long time.
Do I answer? I whispered to myself. Sophia shrugged. You don't have to.
I didn't.
Later, a text arrived. I need to talk.
Please.
I typed. I'm listening. He called immediately. Ivy, I messed everything up. I can see that, I said calmly. I lost the deal, he said, voice tight. Vanessa's family pulled out. My partners, they don't trust me. I'm sorry you're struggling, I replied. My voice sounded steady even to me. I should have never let you go, he said. I didn't understand what I had. And now? I asked softly. I'm trying to fix it, he admitted. I don't know how. Fixing yourself doesn't need me, I said. You did that alone. He laughed bitterly. You make it sound easy. It's not, I replied. It's just necessary. Silence followed. I could hear him breathing. I could hear all the mistakes he had made echoing through that pause. Ivy, You don't need my forgiveness, I interrupted. And I don't need to give it. Not to survive. But I hurt you, he said. You did, I agreed. And I survived it. That's the difference. I don't deserve this, he said quietly. You deserved honesty, I said. I gave it to you. You can't erase what happened, but you can learn from it.
He paused.
Do you ever think about us? Sometimes, I admitted. But thinking isn't longing anymore. I remember, I don't chase. I don't know how you're so strong, he said. I had to be, I said. And I still am. Ivy, please, one chance, he whispered. No, I said firmly. I won't be anyone's second choice again. I won't shrink to fit someone else's life. I felt a weight lift as I said it. I didn't hang up angrily. I didn't slam the phone. I just let it end naturally. Later, I sat quietly, reflecting. Forgiveness doesn't mean opening doors. Respecting myself means closing the ones that were never mine to keep. I whispered to the empty room. You don't need regret to heal. You don't need apology to grow. You only need yourself. I thought about every tear. Every night, I stayed awake waiting for him. Every moment I gave him my patience, my love, my hope. I realized it wasn't wasted. It was the foundation for who I had become. Goodbye, Ethan, I murmured. Not in anger. Not in revenge. In calm, in certainty. I placed my phone aside. For the first time in years, I felt nothing missing. Regret sounded different now. Heavy, quiet, too late. I had learned my lesson. I had chosen me.
And that was enough.
The crowd cheered as I stepped onto the stage. Thank you, I said, voice steady. This isn't just my success. It's proof that perseverance matters.
Daniel nudged me.
Own it, he whispered. I am, I said softly. Afterward, Oliver shook my hand. You did it, Ivy. You earned every bit. I tried, I replied. Sophia hugged me tightly. You really did it. I smiled. We really did it. Later, from the balcony, I noticed Ethan. He didn't approach. He just watched, eyes wide, lips pressed thin. His expression wasn't angry. Not exactly regretful either. It was understanding. He sees, Sophia said beside me. You know what he lost. I do, I said quietly. And I feel something, but not weakness. I walked to the terrace, the cool night air brushing my face. I could have celebrated his fall, I whispered. I could have made him hurt, as I once did. But that's not me anymore.
Daniel joined me.
You chose the higher path, he said. Peace over revenge. I had to, I replied. I wanted this victory for me, not to punish anyone. He nodded. That's real strength. I looked down at the city lights. I didn't take him down, I said. I built myself up instead. A part of me ached thinking of what could have been. It's strange, I admitted. Sadness lingers, but it doesn't control me. That's growth, Sophia said, watching me from the doorway. I smiled faintly. I used to wait for someone else to validate me. Now I validate myself. Ethan's shadow faded from the balcony, but I didn't watch him leave. I didn't need closure from him anymore. I'm enough, I whispered. Later, Daniel asked, Do you feel empty? No, I said. I feel full. Full of everything I chose for me. Sophia grabbed my hand. You've come a long way. I know, I said. And I'll go further. I thought about love lost, about betrayal, about every tear I shed. None of it was wasted. It built me. Ethan's life would continue without me. My life would continue with me fully in charge. I glanced at the night sky. This is victory, I said softly. Not because he failed, but because I succeeded on my own terms. Daniel smiled. And that's worth more than revenge ever could be. I know, I said. I stood alone on the terrace for a moment, feeling the quiet power of my choices. I had won. Quietly. With grace. With myself. And for the first time, it felt complete. I stood by the window, watching the sunrise paint the city gold. I made it, I whispered to myself. Sophia peeked in. You look different. I am different, I said softly. Not bitter, not broken. You're peaceful, she said. I chose peace, I admitted. Success, self-worth, that was always mine to claim. Daniel appeared behind her. You've outgrown everything that held you back. I had to, I said. I almost forgot who I was waiting for someone else to notice me. You noticed yourself, Daniel replied. I smiled faintly. I did. And it feels complete. I thought of Ethan, of love that once consumed me. I was never reborn for him, I whispered. I was reborn for me. Sophia reached for my hand. Do you feel sad at all? Sometimes, I admitted. But it's different now. It's reflection, not regret. I walked across the room, touching the objects that represented my journey. The projects, the notes, the quiet reminders of nights I stayed up building myself. Each step mattered, I said. Every tear, every failure, every moment I thought I wouldn't survive, it brought me here. Daniel nodded. You've learned more than most do in a lifetime. I understand now, I said. Love isn't about losing yourself. It's about growing, whether someone stays or leaves. Sophia smiled. You're glowing. I'm not glowing for them, I said. I'm glowing for me. I thought of all the people I once depended on, all the words I said to please, all the sacrifices I made. I don't need anyone's approval anymore, I whispered. Not love, not status, not revenge. Just me. Daniel placed a hand on my shoulder. And that's what makes you unstoppable. I am unstoppable, I repeated quietly, letting the words sink in. I stepped to the balcony, feeling the cool morning breeze against my face. I've survived everything that tried to define me, and I've chosen myself every time. A deep calm settled inside me. I didn't need validation, revenge, or recognition. My worth was mine alone. I've loved, I've lost, I've grown, I whispered. And that's more than enough. Sophia hugged me one last time. You're finally free. I am, I said, letting the word echo. I looked at the city below, alive with endless possibilities. I was never reborn for him, I said again, smiling. I was reborn for me, and now I'm unstoppable. I took a deep breath, feeling whole, content, victorious, not because I'd beat anyone, but because I chose myself. The sun rose higher, and I finally felt the quiet triumph I had worked so hard to earn. I was free. I was whole. I was mine.